My wife and I had a bad, stupid habit of not locking the door behind us when we came home. In the morning, you leave for work and discover that you slept all night with the door unlocked. The showdown begins over who came in last and who was the biggest slouch. One time, the front door swung open at night from a strong draft and started slamming. We were pretty scared that time, but the habit still didn't go away. But then something happened that taught us to lock the door forever. And damn, I'm seriously considering the idea of a real door bolt. My home is my castle, and what are the walls for if the gates are wide open? That time, I couldn't sleep for a long time. Anxious thoughts about the door were creeping into my head, and to drive them away, I decided to go check the locks. I wandered into the hallway, tugged at the door, and sure enough, it wasn't locked again. I turned one key 4 times, and for some reason the second, lower one, which we never used. I managed to move literally 2 steps away from the door when I heard strange sounds behind it. It felt like someone was running their palms along the door from the other side, feeling it, as if a blind person had come across an obstacle and was trying to figure out what it was. Startled by surprise, I turned around to at least look through the peephole. Coming right up to the door, I noticed that the handle began to move up and down, as if someone was trying to open the door. Then a strange, irregular knock was heard. I suddenly felt cold. My heart ached. Not fear or horror, but some kind of black melancholy. A murky, incomprehensible anxiety flooded my soul. I didn't want to look through the peephole. Instead, I quietly began to walk away into the room. My wife woke up and was about to say something. I asked her to be silent with a sign. She immediately understood that something was wrong. Her eyes widened. I must say that I have one device that I almost never used, namely a video camera looking at the landing and connected to the computer. It was brought as a gift by my brother, who at that time worked in an office installing video surveillance systems. We watched it, played with it a couple of times, and forgot about the camera. Now I remembered it. I don't know what human character trait makes us look into Vaya's eyes. But I sat down at the computer and turned on the image of the landing. What was that? I don't know, but my wife and I saw it. Something wrapped in some dark rags, unnaturally bending and wriggling, wandered around the landing, scratched at the doors, and pulled the handles, falling over and listening to the sounds in the apartments, looking into the peepholes. Its head was also wrapped in rags, dark hands stuck out of the rags, narrow, oblong, with unnaturally long fingers, 2 to 2.5 times longer than normal. Several more times, this something came up to my door and fell against it for a long time. It seemed that my heart stopped. Tears flowed from my wife. She bit the edge of the sheet so as not to make a sound. I, confused, read the Our Father to myself. Then it crawled down. The early June dawn began to break on the street. In the village, these would probably have been the first roosters. For a long time, we couldn't come to our senses from what we had seen. I keep thinking, what would have happened if I hadn't closed the door? Would they have found us with our insides ripped open and blood on the walls? Or, as they show in horror movies, huddled in a corner with our faces twisted in mortal terror and our hearts stopped? Or does evil creep into the soul and a person with glazed eyes goes to the kitchen for a kitchen knife? Or takes a step out the window? I don't know. I don't want to know. Close the doors. Take care of yourself.